What's up, y'all? Alright, so I should explain this picture that I posted earlier that I'll put up right here. Do a quick video on it. I didn't video on site. I really didn't think much about videoing, believe it or not, but I did get the selfie just to send to Kim. So what happened there? I'm on my way home now, and I thought, hey, I need to do a video on this because I didn't do any videoing on site. But what to do when the cops get called on you? So let me set the scene. All right, yes, I wear a mask still on site no matter where I am. We had an appointment for a individual that had passed away, and the person that had power of attorney did not live in the area, but they had to get the house on the market. So when Kim scheduled the appointment, she informed the wife of the person who was out of town, who lived out of town, to send us the power of attorney and a picture of the driver's license of whoever it was. We got that in the email. So we had it in the email. Now that's the most important part. Whenever you have a situation like this, it's always very important to make sure you have your paperwork. Somebody asked me on that picture, how do you handle it? Well, let's set the scene. I get on site in a kind of a sleepy little neighborhood in a quaint, nice little town where nothing ever happens, you know, except domestics, obviously. But so I meet the realtor, I pull up, and somebody was outside, and it's in a cul-de-sac, so everybody, you know, everybody saw my van pull up. Everybody was home. These were all older folks, and they pretty much stay at home throughout the day. Neighbors, you know, it was just neighbors watching out for each other. So I don't blame them for it. I don't really get mad at them. I kind of think it's humorous. So I pull up in my van. You know, I don't have a really marked van. It has our website on it, and it's got our license number for access control. So, and then the realtor pulls up, and she has her picture on the side of the car that says realtor, you know. Everything's fine. I start working on the door. It had a Defiant doorknob and a Kwikset double-cylinder deadbolt. The Kwikset double-cylinder deadbolt was locked as well. So I had trouble. I was using the Kwikset Lishi on the Defiant doorknob. I had a lot of trouble with it falling into a false set. On Defiant doorknobs, you have spool pins in there. So they're actually, even though they're really cheap knobs, they've got spool pins, so they're just kind of hard to pick. I had a lot of trouble. Kept dropping into the false set. I got it turned after about 4 minutes of working on it, but it turned to the lock position. I was like, so I got my plug spinner and spun it, and guess what? It didn't spin all the way. So I had to repick it. So I was trying to repick it to the unlocked position, and it just wouldn't work. Overall, I spent way too much time on the doorknob. I probably spent about 8 minutes total getting the doorknob. Finally, I got it picked again to the locked position. Took a deep breath, used my spinner, spun it, bam, the deadbolt's locked. So, fortunately, the Kwikset deadbolts are not quite as difficult. I could feel a spool pin in there too, because they do have the little fat spool pins in the Kwikset deadbolts. They're not as bad as the Defiant, so I got it after a couple of minutes. Also because it was the same key, and I could kind of feel it out, and I kind of knew what I was doing from working on the doorknob for so long. Right when I got the door open, the realtor had kind of gotten tired of waiting on me and sat in her car. Right as I opened the door, another neighbor in the cul-de-sac came out and was like, "We get new neighbors?" And I was like, "No." That's all I said. I was like, "No." And she kind of got huffy. You know, when people question you like that, I don't really go into details. It's not my problem. It's not my job to say, this is what we're doing. It's none of their business. It kind of is their business, but it's not really their business, you know. Well, I don't think she was the one that called the cops, because as soon as we walked in the door and I started checking the other doors to see if any of them were locked for the realtor, her husband that was there with us said, "Oh, the cops are here." So I went outside, which I was already on my way outside anyway, and he was coming up, and in the picture you can see he's parked right behind my truck. And I came out and I was like, hey, I'm a locksmith. This house is somebody, you know, the gentleman who owned the house passed away. People are out of state, so this is the realtor. And he said, oh, was she in the house? I said, yeah, go on in. So I went ahead and took the locks and just went ahead and did what I was doing. I went back inside to find out how many keys there were, and the lady, the cop was questioning her, and she was talking to the homeowner, or the lady who had power of attorney, on the phone, because she didn't have the paperwork with her. And I was like, here, I'll show you. So I opened my email and I gave him my phone. I said, here's the picture of the driver's license. And then I took the phone back from him and showed him the paperwork showing power of attorney, and said, see the name match. I said, we checked all this. And he was just like, he radioed in and he was like, I'm looking at court paperwork now. And yeah, I mean, he was just like, well, it looks good to me. I said, yeah, you know, we check everything. He goes, no problem. So I just went back out to my truck and snapped a selfie, and literally 30 seconds later he came out, and I was like, thanks. He was like, hey, have a great day, and pulled off. So that's all that happened. You know, it really wasn't worth video, and I really couldn't video because the realtor was there with me, but I did make sure and wave before I got in my van. You know, I'm sure the neighbors were outside like peeking through binoculars and peeking through the drapes, so I made sure before I got in my van that I just like waved to everybody in the cul-de-sac, because I know they were all out there looking, hoping that I would get thrown to the ground and tossed in the police car. But you know, as long as you are professional and present yourself in a professional way, and most importantly, have the paperwork showing that you have the right to go into this house, that's all you need. So anyway, I just thought I'd update y'all with that. As I'm headed out, you know, I just figured I would update y'all. So, not a video of me being on site, getting thrown in the police car, but just another day. It's happened so many times. I couldn't even begin to count how many times it's happened. Neighbors are great when they're nosy. You know, I would hope that would happen. So I don't really fault the neighbors for calling the cops, because if it was my house and my neighbors, I would hope that the same thing would happen. So anyway, that's all that happened. In case you ever run up on that, make sure you have your paperwork squared away. Present yourself professionally to the officer and say, and he didn't even ID me. That was the funny thing. I don't even have business cards anymore. I stopped. I've been needing to get business cards for over a year. I've been out. I probably could dig one up, and obviously I could just say, well, hey, go to YouTube and check it out. That's me. You know, we're obviously a locksmith. So it just wasn't a big deal. It wasn't a big deal at all. He looked at the paperwork, said, looks good to me, and have a great day, you know, that type of thing. So anyway, that's what happens every so often as a locksmith when you're opening a house in a neighborhood like that. You're gonna have nosy neighbors, which is good. That's good. They all protect themselves, they protect each other. That's good. I just think it's humorous when that happens. So anyway, questions or comments, feel free to post them in the comments section. In the meantime, it is dinner time, so we'll catch y'all next video. Hey.